Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and day 3 of Super Week has concluded. Certainly a longer one today, but not short of very entertaining matchups. Couple of Game 5s in here, Game 4 as well to finish off the job. Lots of stuff to talk about today with these matchups, especially with how these teams are potentially lining up now with the major seedings. Enjoy to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I'd like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Let's hop into things then. First of all, just before we get into it, OpTic Chicago are doing another tier list power rankings type video coming in a few days time, I believe on Friday, so certainly stay tuned for that one. Could be some spicy stuff in here, but it seems like Formal was kind of trolling in the pre-show. Pretty entertaining stuff. We'll have to see how that develops over time, because last time you guys I'm sure remember some of the drama and the chaos that caused within the community. We talked earlier today about this new patch which has come into the game. Seems like they'll be playing on the old patch. I was watching out the first map on Moscow, whether like those certain areas of the map which they've trimmed off were actually still in the playable zone. Seems like they were, so they're playing on the old patch for the rest of this week. Then for the major, we're probably going to be playing on those new updates with the smokes and all that type of stuff. My estimation is they're probably not going to bring smokes back and snipers back. If they are going to go down that route for the major, they're probably going to, well, decide maybe after the major before stage 2 if that's the route they want to go down. But just I thought I would let you guys know, if you saw earlier today, these were the predictions on the day. Ended up being pretty much right across the board, but well, some of these matchups certainly did not go as I predicted them to. Crimsix says, let's go defend the throne. Wanted to shout out my boy Rossi once again for this, well, quality graphic he does right here. Getting tweeted out by Crim is no laughing matter by any means. And well, here is the first map of the day. Ravens come out and just dominate Moscow hardpoint. Really incredible stuff. I mean, this was 250 to 160, but it really felt like Ravens were super comfortable here. And I was really confused what was going on, right? We went to a Dallas listen in. They really didn't seem on top of their game, but at the same time, Ravens seems much improved. Their teamwork was great. I mean, the rotations they were making on this map surely was double positive. Not something you see every day. And Ravens looked very surprisingly good map 1. I wonder if Dallas came into this, seeing how Ravens just got demolished yesterday, thinking this would just be a walk in the park, and nearly goes double negative. I mean, that's not something you see happening too often right here. So Ravens win map number 1, then they go into a search and destroy, and this traditionally has been where the more European teams actually get their map wins, right? They steal a couple of search and destroys. That's how you're going to win a series. But against the Dallas Empire, it's going to be pretty tough to do. They go back to Moscow once again, a close game early on, but then Huke just absolutely shows up. I mean, right now, if we were going to do a power rankings list of who the best players in the game, Huke's got to be right up there, if not all the way at number 1. I mean, it's tough to argue otherwise with the performances this guy's been putting on so far. Crazy 1v2 to clutch this one up with the shot punch. Yeah, looking like what ILLey did at the kickoff classic against the New York Sutherlands, that 1v3 shot punch. Does it again right here against Alex to finish off this map. Then we go into game 3, and it was Shotzzy's turn to take over the map. I mean, he goes on this crazy 7 streak, gets all these kills over towards the middle right here, and well, just spawn trapping the hell out of London. Goes all the way to a game 5. It felt like, well, London were always on the back foot in this one, and once again, we see these control maps where it's, you know, it's just defense winning every single round. Very frustrating to watch. Raid is honestly the only one I actually enjoy watching right now. Every other map, it feels like, okay, if someone steals an offense, it's probably gonna, well, chalk at the end of the game, and if they don't, well, it just comes down to who gets a defense round 5. Pretty frustrating to see, but as you can see right here, Shotzzy with the 3-piece continues on, and, well, that certainly closed out the map for them. But then we go into game 4, and this was certainly one I was not expecting. It felt like, once again, Dallas had the advantage here. They won this map up against Minnesota Rokkr in their series they played, so I was expecting them to close it out. But once again, we get one of these crazy maps where it effectively comes down to time, and Dallas actually lose out in the end, 228 to 235. London take it. Great map from Alex and Dylan right here. And then we go into the game 5, and Dallas Empire end up closing it out, I believe, on Miami. So Crimsix really turned up map 5, went like 10 in 5 or something to that effect. And as Parasite says, we really got to talk about this meta. Maybe we will touch on that tomorrow. But yeah, Ravens looked so much better, but they do fall short to the Empire. Interesting, you know, what we really look at here in terms of the Empire, right? Because they lose to Minnesota Rokkr in a game 5. They now go against Ravens game 5, a team that got demolished yesterday. Great to see some signs of life from the Ravens. Like, I would love this team to be competitive and actually put up a fight against the teams they play. They certainly did that today. And if they continue playing like this, they'll certainly get some wins on the board in key series. They clearly did play pretty well and were a much better team than yesterday. But for Dallas, the question's got to be there. Yes, they got the win, but yeah, their hardpoint looking a bit shaky, especially compared to some of the other best teams in the game. We're going to look in just a couple of seconds here. Where exactly do Dallas lie up, especially when we look at the major in just a couple of days' time. LA Thieves versus Seattle Surge was the next series of the day. Kenny went mental early on. I mean, Temp also had like a 3-kill streak. LA Thieves just closed it out though. It was actually a crazy close map number 1, and honestly, it really took some individual brilliance from LA Thieves to actually close this map out. Then we go to Raid Search and Destroy. This is a map where so far this season, it's actually Seattle who have been very good on this map. Octane goes 10-5. Prestinni has his moments as well. Loony wanted to give him a shout out this series after taking a fair bit of stick so far this season, you could argue, rightfully so. He really turned up this series, had a lot of key moments, but they can't quite close it out in the end. It goes 1-1, then we go into this control, and well, this doesn't go to plan, right? I was gassing up Loony. Then we have this moment in the round 5, I believe, of the raid control, where Loony throws this grenade, it kind of sticks onto something, and he kills himself, and Prestinni and Gunless. Already puts them at a disadvantage here, Seattle, and well, it didn't end up working out well for them. They lose those, well, rounds early on, they lose those lives early on, they lose the map control over towards that A point, and well, they can't finish off the job over at B at the end of the round. So Seattle end up losing that control, 2-1 in favour of Los Angeles Thieves. Then we go to Moscow, right, which is a map I was expecting, given that LA Thieves absolutely dominated Minnesota Rokkr on this map, 250-60 a few days ago. It's actually, well, it's actually Seattle Surge that win this one. Crazy map. I mean, some of the things that were happening were just blowing my mind. So many gunfights that should have been won were getting lost. Spawns were getting broken. I mean, some of the setups that were being destroyed were, well, pretty crazy. It didn't feel like LA Thieves were really quite on top of their game. But, well, what they do is head back to Moscow for the Game 5. As you can see right here, Seattle kind of took over in the middle of the game, and then they just about closed it out towards the ends, even though it seemed like LA Thieves might make a comeback over at that P3. But then we go to Game 5, and TJHaLy decides to turn up. I thought I was watching FaZe against OpTic Chicago here, to be honest. TJ just goes absolutely incredible. I mean, the last time I remember a performance quite like this was, well, a very long time ago at this point. I mean, like Karma, for example, 11-0, I believe it was maybe CDL Dallas Grand Finals in Infinite Warfare. In the map 5 of that series, he goes like 11-0 or something up against United to win them the series. TJ does a similar thing here, 12-0, a perfect map. You rarely ever see that at this high tier of professional play. 12-0 SnD in just 6 rounds. I mean, TJ seems to be somewhat back to his boots on the ground 4 versus 4 form that he used to do back in, well, World War II, for example. And, well, if TJ's playing like that and Temp had a great series, Kenny certainly didn't really have his moments this time, but he has done so far this season, and Slasher hasn't even had to do really much, right? And as Kenny says, I was absolutely trolling today, but still winning the series. That is certainly a great sign for how Thieves might match up against some of their opposition for the rest of the season. As Crone says, TJ was literally frying, brings the air fryer here onto stream, and, well, TJHaLy with a 3.29 search KD over the series, 1.34 overall. LA Thieves take it in a 3-2 fashion. Then we get on to the final series of the day, OpTic Chicago versus Toronto Ultra. And, well, this was, I guess it went kind of as expected. I thought Toronto might win the Surge. Still interesting to see how, well, it seems like OpTic are still kind of shaky in Surge. Maybe we can talk about that in the coming days. But certainly a map they are not shaky on is Checkmate Hardpoint. Toronto decide to battle on this map, a map that, well, OpTic seem very comfortable on. Also, their assault rifles certainly dominate Toronto's on paper. And, well, here we go, 250-68. I mean, like, you can see all the way to, well, the 5th hill of the first rotation. They had, like, 7 points on the board. It was 222-7 or something at some point. I tweeted this out right here. You guys might remember this from last year. There was a match, Ultra versus, like, the old OpTic, fake OpTic, Slashers OpTic, whatever, where they got bodied on, what was it, Hackney Yard, 250-49 it was at the time. Crazy map. At one point, it was, like, 250-22. We basically, 220 to, like, 22 or something. We basically had the same thing happen here once again, as well as you can see in this other image. It was 249, 250 to 68 right in the end. Then we go on to the Search and Destroy, though, and things turn around. I think OpTic definitely carried their momentum. They got up like 2-0 in this one, but then some really clutch rounds from Ultra, right? And definitely around, especially the one that OpTic threw away. They had a 4 versus 3. I think that might have put them up like 4-1 in the map, but they end up losing that, lose a couple of rounds. Scump does come up big with a nice 1v2 here against Cleanix, but yeah, then he defuses the bomb, but they still end up losing this map. I mean, there was a crazy round 11 or round 10 even, where Dashy gets the bomb down, then he goes over to play this kind of nice spot. He gets a couple of shots on Bance here that we will see in just a second, and Dashy thinks, okay, there's no way this guy's really challenging, just going to hit the quick reposition as I got him very weak, but Bance just re-peeks and takes down Dashy. I mean, a pretty ballsy play from him, gets the job done, and they win the raid Search and Destroy. So certainly still some questions to be asked here. How good is OpTic Search and Destroy, and are they relying effectively on winning all 3 respawns at the present time, as they seem to be doing, to actually get the job done in a series? Fortunately for them, they don't have to, well, test their abilities in a Game 5 against Toronto Ultra. Certainly not something you want to be doing. They have a pretty good record in their Game 5, I believe, certainly from last season, obviously a pretty similar team. Then we go into the Control, though. Raid Control, once again, fantastic to watch, as I said. And, well, Cammy was putting up absolute digits right here. I think he went 34 in 29, and 29 is a lot of death, so you could certainly argue he was playing too aggressive, but he was certainly getting a lot of kills, put up so much damage on the board. Cleanix didn't have the best map, and, well, there was one particular round where OpTic, they played it kind of questionable. Toronto did a great job getting A point really early on, and, well, OpTic just managed to hold on for like 2 minutes over towards that B side. That was a crucial round for them. Then they won their next offense, and and got the job done to finish it out. Then we go to raid hardpoint once again, so 3 raids back to back to back. Lovely stuff, and very back and forth map once again. We saw a couple of days ago they played this map against Atlanta FaZe, that being the Ultra, and it was 250-249, or 247, sorry. And once again, it's a very close map right here up against OpTic. 250-218. A couple of real clutch kills from Envoy especially. Didn't really get caught on the observer side. He might not have had the best series on paper, but some of the clutch moments that he had in this game 4 were very critical indeed. And OpTic Chicago closes out 3-1. So certainly a lot of clutch factors shown on OpTic right here, but their search and destroy still a bit of a question mark right now. If there's one man who's playing very well in search and destroy, it is certainly TJHaLy over at the Los Angeles Thieves. That was a very remarkable game 5 performance from him. And as I say right here, when OpTic start winning search and destroys, this is a team to be scared of, because beating Toronto in 3 respawns is no easy feat at all. They seem to be a very solid squad in those game modes, as they have proved in these first couple of weeks of the league. So if OpTic can start winning searches, well, that's when other teams certainly have to be scared, in my opinion. Just to finish off the video real quick, to mention the games they play tomorrow. OpTic are playing up against Los Angeles Grillers. The other matches we will talk about in more detail in tomorrow's video, and I'm certainly intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff that happened today in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and upgrade the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.